All right. Hey everyone. So like a spontaneous stream tonight. I'm just fiddling around again. Just trying to connect that I'm able to send on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. And it seems like it's working. It's great to see. So let me see if it also works on YouTube, but I think it should because you're already writing. Yeah, I'm live. So it looks like. So yeah, I got my... why is there so many windows open? Okay, just checking the laptop here. Hey everyone, hey Matt, hey Nadia, hey Hashim, hey Andy. Techno Cinema, hey, how are you? So, I'm just here, I'm just trying a little bit, fooling a little bit around and seeing if this all works. And at the same time, I also wanted to take the opportunity to let you know that I got some free download here, but you've probably seen my video already. So I'm just fooling around a little bit here and see if this all works fine. So I'm just throwing some links in here and you guys let me know. Yeah, it seems like it has been forwarded to Twitch and to YouTube. It was kind of funny because I tried to stream to YouTube before at the same time. But there was really a problem. Hey David. Yeah, just say hi from the YouTube to the Twitch guys. Yeah, but there was always some problem. I don't know. I think it was my my internet connection somehow, because I actually have two connections and I changed because it seems like the other one is a little bit smaller but more fluent in transmitting Pfeffer live streams from Hamburg. So I just wanted to make sure that this is working again. So I may be, streaming to both platforms in the future. And just in case you don't know, my main streaming time is tomorrow. This would be Wednesday, 8 p.m. And we would have a little stream here. And yeah, so that I'm not just sitting here looking stupid into the camera, I thought I'd just, switch streams here, screens. And if you see the link below, you couldn't connect on Twitch. Let me just quickly check. But it seems like I'm live on Twitch too, so should be happening on both platforms here. Or maybe you were saying that you weren't able to connect on Twitch. Yeah, I thought many people just used to YouTube. Many people are used to Twitch. So I think it would be better to just... Actually, Dirk Ehlert, we had a quick chat yesterday night and he encouraged me to switch back and using, going, oh, there he is. Speaking of the devil. Yeah, that it's just better, to, or that I just should try again to connect to both platforms. So it seems like there are no dropped frames. So it really probably was my internet connection I was using before. So yeah, I posted the link above. Actually, you can download 3 of my loops I have been creating of these MIDI loops. And I just want to quickly, just fool around a little bit. I'm not really sure if any one of you is using Studio One. And it actually doesn't matter because you have the option. Well, basically, if you watched my video before, this all isn't new stuff. But this is actually so cool because I just try to do this again here, because when I just reset the root and I have my little Studio One preset folder in here. This is so awesome about Studio One that you can simply set this as a root, and inside this Files tab, I can now create new folders and all these things. And inside, I have my first of these music loops in here, what they are called in Studio One. I did the same actually for Cubase, but to be really honest, as long as I use Cubase and as much as I like it, the side tab in Cubase is, let's say, a little bit more suboptimal for this. It actually works, but you have to use actually the media bay. You have to open this folder every time, and in Studio One you're simply able to click instruments. You know, you got your effects, you can set up loops here, you have files, you even have cloud, you even have your shop or a pool. I mostly don't need all these things here, but I find it really cool that you can take basically any folder on your hard drive and just make it a root folder, and then you throw folders in there. There may be new loop packages coming. So this one is called Adventure Strings, and I created 6/8 loops for this because this is the problem that I have when I, for example, most of the time it's percussion loops, but if you're just looking for loops in general, they are almost 4/4, and none of them are even triplets. It is always 4/4, and it's kind of I don't get this because I would love to create like music in 3/4 or 7/8 or whatever, and so that's why I thought the first volume would be just kind of adventurous strings in 6/8. Yeah, hey everyone. Hey Matteo, and just reading through the names. Hey Eve. Hey Fab 2007. Hey Thomas. Hey Michael. How are you guys? I'm glad you're all here. Super Nap. Hi. So great to see you here. So yeah, as I said before, if somebody dropped in, this is not my typical live streaming time. It would be tomorrow 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time. So right now it's 9, so that would be like an hour earlier tomorrow. I will be definitely online tomorrow, and just see what can I do all these things here in case. So I see like 6 people watching live from YouTube and 12 from Twitch. So I just have to get used to all these settings here you can do in the Restream tab, all that nerdy stuff. So let me just throw in a few of these loops here and just see how these sound. So you can simply, I created this, actually my face is in the way, but I can't make that smaller, but you can see that there are 20 loops in here, almost like 20 loops and 10 arpeggios, and the loops are a little bit more complex. So let me just actually set the time. That would be probably the first thing I have to do. And then set it to like let's set it to like 87 or something. That's a beauty about MIDI files. You can just, let me just take this one here. I'm not really sure what is going on here with this one. And this is the beauty about these things, about these files here. I prepared it like this, that you can basically open these things, and when you play these MIDI files, so, Fauzan, yes, I'm actually live. I hope that proves it. This is not some kind of recorded video I'm just playing right now. No, I'm really live right now. I know it's been a while that I tried to be on YouTube Live. Lirlith Arkenepem. I think I pronounced it wrong again, but hey, how are you guys? So I just put in that loop. They are quite different in style, but always connected to kind of adventure. So let me just kick in another one here. It's loop 2. Okay, so all of kind of these little files, it totally doesn't matter. Maybe you are just looking for some inspiration. To be honest, when I started out and in my early years, or even now, I would be always happy if there would be some kind of, like some voicings, like some rhythms where I can be inspired. So it doesn't really meaning that you just need to get something in order to, it would also work if you have a deadline and you just need a little bit of an arrangement thing or some kind of an injection, to start working, to get yourself going again. We all need that from time to time. And it doesn't matter if it's just inspiration, if it's just because you have to hurry up, or you just have to finish like 3, tracks a day for whatever, some kind of hopefully a big TV show or movie trailer where you using my stuff from. So, and the cool thing about this, I wanted to show this before, if I just open the instrument tab, you can see that this lowers right away the nucleus full ensemble spiccato patch, the string spiccato patch. And I also set the samples. No, I didn't. I think that is something that it doesn't remember these settings. But at least you got the library in here. I mean, you can set it like to like 0, so everything is like sorted out. You don't hear the click because I'm streaming with a Restream plugin. That's another thing, internal thing that you can hear the audio. Okay, so what did we do right now? Loop 7, loop 2. Let me just use loop 13. Let me just throw it in here. So there are these things. I was reading the chat beside. Hey Xenos, how are you? Hey Xander, E-Pain. Hey, how is everyone? Raiseword, yeah, let me just answer your question. What's your ideal rate of music day to be completed professionally? Ideal rate. So you're talking about time or money. To be honest, I'm always looking that I at least get like 1 minute of music done. Of course, sometimes it's like a, some kind of underscore, some pads, some easy, some easy string arrangement for, let's say, a role-playing game or something. And then you'd probably be able to finish like 2 or 3 minutes of music on that day, maybe even more. But I'm always on average looking forward to have like 1 minute of music finished. And besides that, if you say, nah, this is not really that much, you have to keep into consideration that if you, let's say, work on a full game and you have to work out, you have to compose like 20 to 30 minutes of music. And it means that out of these 30 minutes you are composing right away, probably 5 minutes will be rejected. Maybe 10 minutes have to be rewritten. And on average, it just adds up that you probably, have in this range, get into that range of that you more or less will finish on average 1 minute of music. I hope that answers your question. If you were talking of money, I read that often, very often. So honestly, I would look how much money you need per month to pay everything and to not live that bad, that you're not suffering from not being able to buy food or something. And then assuming as a number, if you need like 3,000 euros per month and you divide this by 30 days, you'll probably have to make like $100 or 100 euros per day. Again, if you are not well known, let's say in the game or trailer sector or whatever, it's different in the trailers. But yes, let's stick with games for a second. I think 100 minutes, because if you need like 100 minutes per day, $100 per day, you would, and we say that you on average make 1 minute per day. So this means like that you could charge $100 per finished minute of music, but I would probably go a little bit higher and start with like maybe, it depends really how much music you have done before. If you are a professional, for around 10 years, or if you just started, I would at least, as a minimum thing, if you are a professional composer, I would look forward to have at least a minimum of $300 to $400 or euros a day. Sorry, per finished. Yeah, something like this. I hope that answers it a little bit. Alexander, you are looking at changing to a new DAW from Logic. Should I bother learning Cubase or go straight for Studio One? To be honest, let me just answer this directly. If you love an intuitive and fast workflow, just go with Studio One, because everything is drag and drop here. I mean, I can just quickly demonstrate this. You can take a contact instance and just drag it over, and that's it. And you can even save a preset. So I got like a preset here. This is called Heaviosity Mosaic Bass. I just drag it over here, and it loads a complete instance with Mosaic Bass. And if I just want to have an effect going, if I want to have some whatever, you know, like driver effect on top of Mosaic Bass, I just drop it on top and can just start doing stuff. So when it comes to workflow, Studio One is the most perfect for it. However, if you are looking for when you have like a big template of 300, 400, 500 tracks, and you really want to focus yourself on just the active things, if you work a lot with libraries that have negative delay, and video, if you do a lot of, for example, like custom trailer work or video game cutscenes or something, you probably want to stick with Cubase for now. And even if you are working with instruments that need negative delay, I recently released a video, and I think Dirk was also so kind to do presets for a plugin called minus delay, where you can basically get rid of this negative delay issue in Studio One. So if you, you just have to decide, Xandri, I would just decide where your heart is. You know, if you feel like more attached or attracted to Cubase, then go with Cubase. If you feel more attracted to Studio One or an intuitive workflow, I would definitely go with Studio One. I personally would never listen to what people prefer unless they can give you a really valid reason for saying, hey, you know, if you really want intuitive drag and drop workflow, then just go with Studio One. But yes, I'm just reading this Techno Cinema Music. FL Studio, I still want to say Fruity Loops, because when this is like what it was first called, and that is how I, you know, how I got, let's say, introduced to this piece of software, and I never understood it. Actually, I have it. I have FL Studio version 20, and to be honest, it's so absolutely awesome. I personally think that this, if they would get rid of a few things, like showing you only the tracks you are able to work with, or you know, like batch rendering or something, and getting some workflows straight, this DAW will definitely rock. Especially when you know how many hours I spend typically when I do when I have finished a track and I want to upload it on YouTube and don't want to simply come up with a boring picture. How much time I spend with motion videos, finding motion videos, getting something for After Effects, then rendering time, trying something like Video Bold, as I recently did, and you have it all inside FL Studio. You can just render an entire. You can just render your track into a video. This is so awesome. This is absolutely great. Yeah, Xander Music. If you work on a lot of, you know, feature films and stuff, I mean, it's possible in Studio One right now, but the video engine, to be really honestly and really rough, the video engine in Studio One is, let's say, not really the best one you can currently get. I mean, every video editing software, it may be Filmora or Video Maker, can works fine with music tracks. You can see like a music track inside a video editing software. If you have Studio One and you want to get a movie in there, you don't even see it as a track. It's just a movie that is in there, and it starts on point 0, and you can offset it. But if you work with a developer that sends you different videos with different starting times, and then they're editing something, cut something away at the beginning, you always have to guess where to put the video. This is really crazy. So and I mean, as with everything, it doesn't matter if you want to build your YouTube channel, you know, if you want to realize or find out what music style works best, what kind of trailer music you want to compose, it is always best to simply stop thinking and start trying things out. And then after a year, looking back and saying, did it work, or can it be better? Can it be improved? This is the only way it goes. Hey, Gas. These MIDI files are amazing, thank you. It gives a great insight into how these patterns can be constructed, and in Studio 152. What's not to like? Thank you so much. Yeah, this is, I mean, I like it because if you simply want to get, you know, use, let's say this arpeggio up here, you can just simply delete it, you know. I mean, it's just MIDI. We all know that this is possible, but when you just realize that how great it is to just work with MIDI, or that you can just transpose something to whatever G. Stuff like this. Okay, let me read a little bit more. Like, any tips on streaming a master and slave setup? I want to slave from the slave. You want to slave from the slave? Okay. But capture audio and screen on master. Well, why don't you try Vienna Ensemble Pro if you really want to? I think the best thing you can do right now is getting a Vienna Ensemble Pro if you really want to work with a slave setup, master setup. But I personally don't have any clue about this anymore. I used to have like 3 or 4 PCs somewhere in the, you know, in the floor. In the hallway, but there was this 2 GB per application limit, so you were just able to have 8 GB with 4 PCs, and all the sample libraries were spread. But yeah, I mean, definitely Vienna Ensemble Pro is definitely the answer for slaving. Doesn't matter how many computers you have, or how many things you want to connect. This is the best thing to do. I personally don't prefer it anymore, because my machine is decently powerful, and if I don't use... This is the thing when it comes to templates for me. If you have a template with 1,000 tracks, how many tracks are you using per track? On average, it may not be over 50, maximum 100 tracks. You won't use more on a track. So technically 900 tracks are always lying there, you know, like lying around, doing nothing, eating dust. Virtually eating dust by doing nothing. So I tend to start, you know, as you could do, like simply here, just hit right click, and then you say disable selected tracks. And then you have these tracks disabled, and you don't use that RAM anymore, so that memory. So technically, if I have a template with 1,000 or even 5,000 tracks, of course it would use a little bit of memory footprint and all these things. But if I just have maybe 10 or 20 or 30 basic or essential tracks activated, and the rest, the 950 other tracks or 4,950 tracks are deactivated, they more or less don't need any memory. So I don't see any reason to still use a slave or a master slave setup. I'm so tempted to get the Spitfire BBCSO, at least the version with like 400 or 350. Hey NBRC, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much. Yeah, Fidget, so happy to see someone in Studio One. I'm tired of all the info being about FL Studio. Yeah, you probably just dropped in because I was just, like saying how positive, how I like FL Studio. But yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I would totally jump right into Studio One. I mean, I'm using it for like 10 years now. I didn't realize that I already use it for like 10 years. It's definitely my go-to. I mean, look how awesome this mixer is. Let me just maybe quickly hide the chat here, so you can see how awesome this mixer looks like. And if you just go over here and you just want to whatever, driver somewhere on here, how that works. Oh, I just love it. You could just drag this stuff around and do things, and it just works. And the only thing that I'm really missing, despite that there are plugins out there like minus delay or something, I would really love, and as far as I know, or as far as I guess, that the team is already on it. I mean, they are aware of the problems. I'm really trying to do my best when penetrating and many others too, penetrating the team kind of and saying, hey, you really have to get rid of this, because it would invite actually so many orchestral people. Let's say, I don't want to say, yeah, let's say like film people, video game people that work a lot with orchestral libraries. And I mean, these kind of negative delay things, this will be the future, because it enables us to make more complex things. Even if it's just something simple like a guitar strum library, you can't tap the note right on the downbeat and have the strum coming exactly the downbeat, like the last note, which has the highest impact directly on the one. It's not possible. It would mean that you have to travel in time if you want to make this in real time. It's not possible. The only solution to that is negative streaming. Oh, thank you, Restream. I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat. This is so kind of you. No, this is so kind of you people. DJ Adam, hey, how are you? Sorry. I was just seeing this. He's German. Said, oh my God, somebody's doing some joke. This is kind of this thinking, what we have as composers. Oh my God, somebody said he's German. So you read above. So maybe somebody made a joke about my accent or something. And then I'm reading by Matthew. Are you a much disciplined person? Your tutorials make a lot of sense, but much of it seems to be very hard working for me. Do you work very systematically? Sorry, but what do you, so first of all, thank you, but what do you mean by much of it seems to be very hard working to me? Maybe you can explain this. But yes, I'm German. I try to be efficient and I don't have humor. This is at least how people say. No, but please let me know, because if you say that there are some things that are very hard working for you or not working at all, maybe I always try, to, let's say, minimize my thinking and, make it even more not mainstream in the sense, but I have my brain. I have this weird messed up brain, and I think the things I think that are complex or easy to understand may not be easy to understand, or maybe I'm taking too many rounds in my brain and someone else is so someone else is doesn't get a hold of what I'm trying to say. So I'm always looking forward to know what you guys find irritating or hard to understand. Okay. Oh, like these things. Having a Discord server. You mean how to set this up? Well, if you need help to set something up, I got the perfect person for you. Making libraries. Yeah, this is this is just like, you just have to get into this. You just have to, it's like the same with my YouTube challenge right now. I'm actually at the end of the challenge. Tomorrow is my last video I have to put out. And this will be my review video. Let me just quickly come a little bit closer to you guys. So, and my last video will be about that 30-day challenge. So, as with everything, it's not enough to just simply dive into something for a day. You really have to stick to it. And to be honest, during this 30-day challenge, let's say like put it better, a 28-day challenge, it is the first thing is you learn a lot on what to improve. You will learn a lot on what works best. And this is basically the best strategy. As with everything, if you want to know if something is really working, you have to do several things. You just have to do it all. And then later on, sit back and review like the last 3-6 months, maybe the full year, and saying, was it worth it? And now after this 28-day challenge, I can see what video works best. So I know that this is my brain, you know, but what I'm trying to say, Matthew, if you just come back and say that you don't have how you put it, that it's very hard working to me. I'm still not sure if you mean the effort you have to put into it or that you have problems to understand how you do it, but you just have to dive into it and you just have to start somewhere. So stop this overthinking process. Just go for it and see how far you get. And if you just can't solve 10 things, just try to solve one thing and use this, and then something else will become more obvious, and so on. Oh, thank you. Also, D451D, thank you so much for following. I know it's so it should probably be that is some kind of does it or something, some kind of cryptic thing. But thank you for following. Thank you so much. So, Forward 4, let me just, hey man, thanks for streaming. How much gigabytes of RAM would you advise me to? i7 and 16 gigs would be enough for a PC. I run plugins like Omnisphere and contact libraries. To be honest, my most simple answer, just look how much money you have available and get as much as possible. Because this is the only way. I would just look back and see how much libraries you would have to load during your normal workflow without saying I just load everything I have into my computer, but just come up with some realistic strategy of just importing all the plugins you're using, then write down how much memory this needs. You're like hitting like shift control and escape so you can see like the task manager, how much RAM, how much memory you're needing. And then load as much sample libraries as you need, and then check at the end how much memory you need. And if you need 32 or if you need 45 or something, then get 64. And to be honest, memory is not really that expensive right now. So I think I would just save up a little bit of money and then go for 64 gigabytes. Because then you never run into the problem of... I got close on my older machine. I got close to something like 50 or 55 gigs. So that's why I decided to go with 128 for my new machine. But I know I will never exceed this one. Harald, welcome. When you're creating your own sounds from your own samples, what is your workflow? Which synth plugins do you mainly use? So when I'm creating my own sounds, this is what I invested in my... Let me just quickly move to the side. Just have to get to figure out the camera angles, but I got a matrix brute down here, and over here I can just move the camera a little bit. Maybe you can see this down here. I got my Prophet 12, but I also do a lot with guitars, and also what you can see here on my nice wall. So let me just, I never did this. I can just like a presentation, you know, like a presentation person. Take this off and just put it into the camera. So when I try to come up with my own stuff, does this work? Yes. I'm using hardware, you know, like the Big Sky or I also have stuff like the auto bit. So I created a library. It's called let me just what is it called? I don't know even my old libraries how they are called. It's been such a long time that I created this one, but let me just check it. Jesus, Lost Remnants. Right. So if I pull that over here, you can listen to that little demo that I was using my guitar and I was using Autobit with this. So of course, all the stuff you hear in the back is also some loops of quantum fluctuations or anything, but all these things you hear on top. So just as an example, I'm trying to use a lot of hardware for all these sounds. And I mean, obviously it's not allowed to use, software synth to create your own sounds from, because most of the time these synth are also samples. They have been created, unless it's like an algorithmic virtual instrument. But it's always, you go always the safe route if you use hardware for that. So let me just read a little bit more. Did I miss something right here? Skandov, well, I'm basically, this is the funny because usually when I'm working on orchestral stuff, I'm using Cubase all the time. So when I'm working on rock or something, or, some kind of more electronic focused stuff, I am on Studio One. So it always changes back and forth. So people sometimes think like, oh, now he's using Cubase. He dumped Studio One again. Now he's on Studio One. He dumped Cubase again. It's in the beginning, I had like a hate and love relationship because there were things I really hated on Cubase, and that's why I went to Studio One. And then I fell in love with Studio One, and then suddenly there were things I didn't like, and then went back to Cubase, and it was suddenly going back and forth. And I just accepted this, that I simply work with both of these programs. Oh, let me just. My Cyrillic is so bad, but is it? Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. If I would say it would be like Nazen or Nabem Topenko or something, but this is probably not right. But I could just simply read what you wrote. So really love your content. Thank you so much. I was thinking about incorporating heavy guitars in my orchestral work. This is always a good thing. Do you think Neural DSP Nameless is good enough for it? Or do you prefer something else? Eve, thank you so much for your tip. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you so much. As far as Neural DSP stuff, I simply say yes. This is like, I don't want to mention any kind of other, guitar plugin or amp simulation plugins, but the Neural DSP stuff, especially the Grainofier, I would just do a comparison. Just get the Nameless suite. They have demo versions of their plugins. So I would try the Nameless plugin, the Nameless suite, but also do yourself a favor and try Grainofier. It's like the absolute. I can just, since we are at it, let me just pull up another demo so I can just show you one track. And I did this for Renegade drums. But I just want to pull this up real quick because I just have to find it. Well, it's my fault because why did I do so many videos? I can't even see them in the list right now. Okay, here we are. So the guitar sound I was doing here is entirely Granofire. So I'm just quickly pulling up the video right now here. Let me pull myself on screen. And so this is just one. This is basically just one patch, one preset, and I put it left, right, and record it. So enough of this, but this is just one plugin. There is no quadrupling or anything going on. It's just one. It's just one track to the left. To the left. I mean, from you left, and one track to the right, and just hard panned, and that's it. That's all that is. So check out the Nameless Suit or Granofire. It will definitely. It's definitely the best you have ever heard so far. So, yeah, you really need to upgrade Guitaric 5. This is, to be honest, I really appreciate Guitaric when you do guitar solos because there is some kind of a nice cutty sound to it. But if you want to do rhythms and stuff, definitely the Neural DSP guys, they simply rock. David, thank you so much. Giving a shout out to my Titan guitar library. You've used that a lot in your Westworld scene. That made a huge difference. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to hear that. I really appreciate. Yes, I still have to do a follow up of this, especially with the chuck notes because I just recorded sustain notes, and but I think I recorded like 6 guitars plus used my Prophet 12 on there, just as subtle to just filling some frequencies that you can't get with guitar. And yes, so I think I recorded like 6 guitars, 3 on the right side, 3 on the left side, and this became this huge wall of power chords. It's a little bit like the Junkie XL. Oh my god, I shouldn't say this. It's a little bit like what Junkie XL is to brass, where you just have to put everything down. When you just have to, put Junkie XL down because it's so loud. And this is like Titan too. When you just put it in somewhere, it's like really massive. Yes. So, man, it's so cool to see so many people here. So we have like 68. Finally, I can see all the people like in the chat right now. So 39 are hopping over from YouTube and 29 hopping over from Twitch. So 68 all in all. That's really cool to see. Really, really cool. Let me just quickly till the next. It's so fun. It's so much fun tonight to just answer your questions. Let me just quickly come up with a little loop here and just play you some of these arpeggios. So let me just drag over some things here. So some sounds like this. There's another one that sounds like this. Some are more easy, some are a little bit more complex. And let's come up with another loop. What is like the 19th? I always load stuff from like the first. So let's check out some of this stuff here. There was one which was pretty complex. I think there was this one. stuff like this. So there are some easy ones, some are a little bit more complex, but it always is a little bit driven to, like this adventure thing. So there will be way more coming, like trailer stuff. There will be like, 4/4 hard-hitting matrix patches, stuff like this. So basically everything. Also, if you have something you want to see in the future, just let me know. Scandov, all those free MIDI loops. Well, the loops they're just like 3. If you want to pay for this, you can do this. Just posting the. I think I didn't post the product page, and I actually see right now there is no video on that right now. But if you're interested, you can check out the full package here. So it's €9 till the end of July. Since we are doing a little bit of promo stuff, I can just also pull up my recently kind of well-received course I was putting out. So, boom. So there I did the full thing, like sending you the adventure strings, rhythm voicings, and arpeggios in 7/8, MIDI loop pack, and, my recently finished course, which is basically like 8 to 9 videos. I think it's just... or only, well, you can't say only because there are so much edits in there. It's really a lot of content in between, like videos that are just maybe 5 to 15 minutes long. But it is all about YouTube channel building, all about how to set up lead magnets. And especially it brings me to a point, Scandov, when you say that because of where did you write this? All those free MIDI loops, you dislike free stuff. So it doesn't matter if let's pretend you were ironic. But let's just say if you haven't been ironic, this is just the best stuff. Let's talk business for a second, because offering free stuff is just a kind way of offering something to the community so that people can test it out. And in case they like it, they can still buy, like the full package for 9, 19, 29, 99 euros or whatever it is. So, and you don't annoy anyone with it. If you send out something for free, people always love free stuff. Like Project Sam released the free orchestra. Orchestral Tools did that with Layers. There are a lot of plugins for free. Lots of this stuff is really, really great. And like putting out free stuff is always a good thing, because if somebody's really attracted to something, then people will go for it. And so you never annoy someone. You always stay on that side of you're offering something, you offer help. You're just there if somebody has a question or something. I tend to give all that stuff away for free so far. And just in case if somebody wants to come up and have like a private chat or anything, like a one-on-one conversation about maybe stuff the people have problem building. Maybe it's YouTube related, maybe it's like business related stuff, and then you're there for them. And then then can somebody make use of my Patreon account? Yes, Gandalf. That's another very important point. Thank you for reminding me, actually. But all these loops. And all these, these MIDI loops right now, they also have like a good educational purpose, so you put them out and somebody can see how is this stuff laid out. I'm not saying that I'm like, I'm definitely far from doing like perfect in music theory, perfectly well laid out and let's say voiced out or harmonized string patterns, but I know what sounds good for the appropriate style. And I would have loved to have stuff like this available back then when I started. Back then when I started, you had lots of arrogant people. Not everyone, but I'm just exaggerating here, but you had lots of arrogant people and nobody wanted to give their secrets away. And when people realized that you advance or progress more, the more you give away of yourself or the more information, the more helpful information you put out. This is why I like the internet, why I like all these social networks out there, because there has been like this shift. Of course, there are still a lot of idiots, and like personally about the thing, I don't care when I just released that video like this afternoon, and the first thing I had was 2 dislikes. And I was really thinking to myself, why the heck are people disliking a video where somebody offers free stuff? But you have to just accept that there's always somebody who doesn't like your face. So, but all in all, I really appreciate the internet because you can get so much free information. And if there's somebody out there offering cool stuff, I'm always happy to pay. Oh, Cedric, thank you for your question. What we heard were not MIDI loops, they are S1 music loops. Where do they come from? So first of all, I created them, but the thing is, that's what I totally forgot to mention. So you guys remind me of a lot of stuff. When you get this package, let me just pull up the folder, because when you get this package, you get like 3 things here. You get like a Studio One folder, you get a MIDI folder, and you get the Cubase folder. So this is stuff you can use for all of these, like for Cubase and Studio One. These are the so-called music loops, which are basically converted MIDI loops. So you get the MIDI loops here, you got the same stuff in here, loop 1 to 20, arpeggio 1 to 10. If you are working in Studio One, you can directly drag and drop this entire folder I have here right into your files folder and have all these MIDI files converted. I mean, I did that for you, but you have all these basically MIDI files inside Studio One with the, with Nucleus, the spiccato string, this. The spiccato strings of Nucleus. And if you just hop over to the Cubase folder, you can grab this entire folder here, and there you got the MIDI loops. This is how Steinberg calls their music loops, calls MIDI loops. You can import them. So I hope that answers your question. Oh, Chess. Speaking of mixing genres, I did some orchestral stuff, brass and violins for a German rock band. How would you mix them together and position the orchestra stuff? This is always a very tough thing. I would personally look forward. I mean, if I try to do this, I would always make sure to compress the band focus stuff a little bit more than the orchestral instruments. But of course, it matters what should be in the foreground. So I wouldn't, I would also be rough and make sure that if the band is in the foreground, that you just use these as additional instruments or elements and maybe let them fly a little bit more then, because usually you can narrow down the band stuff a little bit, or not use that much compression, but it's always a hard thing. You really can't say, because every track is different. But I think it's I would just, that's a stupid answer, use your ears. But I wouldn't worry so much about the positioning when you have a band in combination with an orchestra. I would just try to go with really like what sounds good, and totally don't care about if people say that the strings are here and the cellos and the basses are here and violas in the middle and you got all the woodwinds sitting there and some percussion sitting here, but then in the other hall they are sitting here. I totally don't care about all this. I just use my ears and try to make it sound good. So this is, I'm always a little bit, I kind of sound a little bit too easy and too dumb when it comes to these things. But it's like when saying, how much salt do you put in your food? Is it like a meal for 6 people, and it is basically rice and chicken? Or if it's like a soup for 3 people, you would use totally different, let's say, numbers of spices or salt in this. Cedric, I don't see any problem with Nucleus and a copyright problem, because I'm not naming this library. I'm not naming this Nucleus. I'm not using any of their sounds. Technically, you could use whatever you want. I could just go in here and, copy, duplicate that track right here and just load up a library. And let's say I load the free orchestra, load the short strings, and just, of course, you would need some fiddling around. So now you got these patches working with a free orchestra. So that's why I call it's optimized for Nucleus, because I needed some library to create it. You can't sit down and, for example, load the Metropolis Arc 1 strings and make it perfect for them, and then open up Araya by Audio Imperia and have the same going on there. Everybody records in a different room. Everybody's mapping technique is different. Everyone's editing technique is different. So you just have to have one thing where it's optimized with, and this is, so I don't see any, I don't see any reason why this should be, why I should get into trouble by providing, MIDI files only. Let me just read again here a little bit. And there's so much stuff going on here. Daniel said it well. Dragon's music. Hey, if I cannot compete when others know my secrets, I'm wrong in this job. Who is Daniel? Oh, do you mean Daniel James? Probably, yeah. Yeah, so basically, if you just think that you are good because of your secrets, and the thing is, if you say you keep your secrets for yourself, it totally doesn't matter, because there will be, right now in this moment, there will be like 10 people making some major deals on this planet. And they do it disregarding if you spread something out to the world or not, So it's always the best thing. This is what people are afraid. It all comes down to a personal fear. People sitting at home and saying, I won't spread my secrets, because then somebody would end up being better than me because of me. And when you think like this, the only thing you are afraid of is that you don't make much money to sustain your life and then die. And this is the only fear. If you break down fears, or if you break down issues like this, it's very simple. You think you don't give away your secrets because you could die. And if you just see that in this relation, it really sounds funny, David, dyslexia. Maybe people think they're actually hitting the thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, they could also do a headstand. But to be honest, I don't care about negative reviews or something. Maybe somebody doesn't like my face. Maybe somebody really doesn't like how I talk. I totally don't care. I appreciate that they took the time and put a negative comment on my, on my video, because they took the time to do this. Actually, they let me know that they can't stand me. But in the end, the YouTube algorithm, all that the YouTube algorithm is caring for or looking for is interaction with your video. So in the end, they just push my channel. So that's why I be thankful in that, DJ Adam, when my new 8-bit guitar library, I just have to probably talk to David about this, Can we share more? Just kidding. Yeah, just seeing that. Saiki, Z4Iki, Horror Insight. Thank you for following. Thank you so much. Tony, you don't want to install Pulse. Don't want to install extra software. Well, you could contact me on my website, and I could just check and send you the files like this. But to be honest, I mean, the Pulse plugin is so awesome because I mean it's just like it's like a few MBs sitting somewhere, and you don't even have to run it in the background. It's just a downloader. And at some point, I had to go with a software because I had these downloads internally done by Shopify, and then I had this one crazy €1 sale for 24 hours, and it totally blasted the system. So people waited for days to download like 100 MB patch, and so it's seriously, Tony. You don't need to you don't need to worry about that Pulse does anything to you. It's just a download tool. It's not a sampler or anything you need to make this work. It's like it's sitting there not even sitting there in the background. You just open it up when you download something and then you close it. It's like, I don't know, like a video player or like Handbrake if you do some additional video editing or something. It really doesn't. Right, as Alan said, you can delete it afterwards. It doesn't even leave anything, Yeah, Tony, so don't worry about the Pulse downloader, but if you really don't want to, I mean, it's not even, I don't even know, it's like 10 or 50 megabytes or something. You can open it once and close it afterwards, but I feel personally that more and more libraries will jump for this, more and more developers, because first of all, the team is very awesome. I get lots of regular emails about, they talking about doing patch updates and everything, so this will definitely a download tool that we see more often in the future for music software. Just reading. So much wise stuff. But yeah, what I really like about now is that we can have this, this cross thing of YouTube and Twitch. I think I will definitely do this in the future. And we still don't have any dropped frames. So I have to say thank you to the German Telekom that they're doing an amazing job. Especially after having this crazy ride about my internet connections. Yeah, Continuator is there. It's a great tool. Also a very cool team, but I don't know. I think I found, Pulse a little bit more attractive because of how it works, and how it looks like. So Continuator was a little bit too, I mean, I can't say for it because I didn't, use it in the sense of being a developer. Of course, I downloaded samples with it, and you just put in the code and then you can save it somewhere. But yes, it can get kind of messy sometimes. And the Pulse downloader is so cool when you just have like this archive of all your plugins in there, and you have little pictures, and everything is so sorted out. I just need that for my autistic brain, to just have all these things nicely and tidy sorted out on my screen. Hey, the storyteller, you're a total newbie on Twitch. We all were. Just look back on January. I think I started my Twitch stream on January, and this is so cool because I think I just have to check something right now, because when I check my my Twitch account right now. I just have to be careful to mute my audio. I can see that I'm like 795 followers. So it's just like 5 people left. And I'm already passing 800 followers. This is really crazy because I started like January. So I think if you drive that traffic to Twitch, because to find, let's say, to discover people on Twitch, the discoverability is very, not the best. So you have to drive traffic to Twitch. So, but it's such a nice way. I'm still not so sure about YouTube live streaming because for me, YouTube is like more the platform to post videos. But I mean, there are so many people. I mean, especially recently during the last 30 days, I will do a dedicated video. But if you guys are interested in this, I can quickly pull up my analytics here for you, so we can see what happened during the last. Let me pull it up. Georg Tomic, you're probably German, right? I'm just guessing. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for following. So I'm not sharing any secrets right here. So let me just show you this, because then you can see, actually there's one gap. I'm still, kind of disappointed because there's this gap happening, but there was something, there was some kind of, let's say, a misunderstanding from my side and a confusion of time zones, because at this day I wanted to release my Raya video and I just realized, shit, Audio Imperia is going to release that library their time at 5 p.m. something, which would have been like 2 or 1 a.m. Not really sure right now, my time. So I had to, postpone the release of this video. Therefore, you see a gap right here. But it would have been so cool to see that gap, being closed. And also, I think I can go back to like 90 days. So you can, this is also so interesting to see. So you can perfectly see right now what happened on the day when I started to post to YouTube on a daily basis. So obviously there was a little peak because there's always one video where a peak is. This was definitely the video when I was reacting to David's winning track, winning the Westworld scoring competition. So this thing definitely caused some spike here. There is always one video it will cause a spike. There was another spike here, and this was probably the one exploring orchestral tools. No, sorry, I think it was exploring string sample library Arraya. It was this one, and I think the orchestral tools creative suite was a live stream. So that was also a little bit of a different. Not saying that Arraya was like more well received than the creative suite, but also this orchestral creative suite video was a live stream I put up. And interesting is that it stayed on an average of like 1,500, views. And you can clearly see what's going on before that. I was releasing a video on a weekly basis. And what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't, release like a video on a daily basis. But even if you start, let me just go way more back, like 365 days. You can clearly see what is happening at the end here. So there was one spike. What happened here? I was already posting regularly. Let's go further back. Let me see my lifetime. Yeah, so this, you can see like these phases where I was started to be active. That was this bump. And then I had this 3 years of doing not really that much. I released like 2 videos here, 3 here, 3 here, 1 here. And that's it. And you can clearly see how it goes down. And then it starts going up again. So the best thing you can do is do this on a regular basis. If you really want to get somewhere, and YouTube, I think it's the best platform to do this. Oh my God, I'm talking again so much. $40 peeps more and we open the champagne. Yeah, definitely we do that. Oh, hey, from Österreich. Great to see you here. Oh, Fidget, sorry for, have you checked out Unify? No, I didn't. I think I confused it with Unity, which is like the gaming, you know, like game building platform. Yeah, Proofy, this is like how you're able to make such a valuable content in such a short time span. Thank you so much. I mean, most of this stuff is like hanging around in my brain all the time, you know, and then I have like a little list and I just write everything down that comes to my, you know, it's coming in my mind. And I still have a lot on that list. And then if I'm sitting there in the morning and trying to decide on what to come up with, I'm just deciding what would be where would I have a good run with that topic? And then I sit down and I sketch this out. This is the most important thing that I'm doing, to sketch things out. And maybe I'm writing for maybe like 1.5 hours, but in the end, I may be recording for like 15 or 20 minutes and then cutting it all together. And by having that you know, like that OBS setup, and all the cameras and the ring lights and the lights above me here, setting up, I can just hit record and go. And you save all the time to set up a camera. You save all that time by coming up with content. You're just ready to go. You can just jump in and start right away. And this is why I love OBS so much, because you can simply switch between these screens. And I also have screens. If I, for example, can I do this right now? I'm not really sure. That I can switch to this full screen and you can see me completely without everything here. And I also have another camera over here. You can't see right now. The next time I will make sure to connect it, and then I could even film, you know, my keyboard or anything, and which I'm also doing for the close-up videos on YouTube. Thank you, Sylvie, for following. I really appreciate. Oh, Jan, how about little loop-based music? And when we see the continuance of the Elder theme, I really liked how that was going on. Thank you so much. This will actually happen tomorrow, because tomorrow we will have we are already live for almost like 1 hour 13 minutes and 0 drop frames. Yes. We will be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time, and then we will continue working on that track, definitely. So it's definitely time that we continue working on some music. Okay, Fidget, you just made me curious. I just have to figure out what Unity is. So what do I have to look? Oh, you already mentioned like plugin guru. Let me just pull that up, because so you're not affiliated. Yeah, but even if you would be affiliated, I wouldn't be. So let me just see. Okay, so they have like lots of libraries. Unify. You were talking about Unify specifically. So, oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, it combines over 50 plugins when installed. Over 500 John Limcool designed patches. Oh, I know John. Not personally, but yes, from Facebook. I think we are even. I'm not really sure if we're friends on Facebook. Yeah, okay. I definitely have to check this out. Let me just play a track here. It sounds pretty cool. I mean, I still can't get, you know, I will just check it later. What is going exactly, and watch a few videos on what is going on exactly and what you can do with it. I will definitely check it out. There's so many cool things, like recently Chord Potion, we just, you know, reviewed, where you can build easy MIDI patterns and, you know, make, you know, have kind of an arpeggiator for a synth or all kinds of instruments, or even when you want to have like guitar finger picking for acoustic guitar sample library. It's very cool to have. So there's a lot of this stuff around. Okay, I was just reading a few questions here. Skay. Yeah, you asked like why composers start using Studio One. It's better than Cubase. So let me just quickly answer this again. I think no sequencer, no DAW, I still say sequencer, no DAW is better than another. If you get the job done, then it's good. But the reason why so many people jump to Studio One is because you just have a drag and drop workflow. And I mean, I don't want to close Studio One right now, but I mean, you have this instrument list over here. Let me just quickly change again. You have your instrument list over here, and you have the contact instance, and you just drag it over and you can start working with it. And if you want to have a new track in Cubase, you have to press T, which is already a big improvement because you're hitting T basically like you do on Studio One, and then you can say instrument, and then you can load an existing new instrument. Sorry, no. Am I stupid? How do I do this again? I totally forgot how you do this here. Oh, right here, and then you say you know, like contact, and then you hit OK, or you can just drag it over from here. If you do that in Cubase, it takes like 3 or 4 mouse clicks to do this. And even if it's just like 10 seconds of more time, this is, you have to work with a template. But sometimes there's stuff you don't want to have a template for. But, you know, so this is basically the reason why everything works with drag and drop. The same with, you know, effects. When you just want to put a reverb or a compressor on top, you just go over to the effects section and just load, for example, RC48, and just drag it over that track, and boom, you got this effect loaded onto the instrument. You don't need to fiddle around in some kind of window, and you can't even drag around effects or change them. You know, if you can't override them, I think, also on Cubase. When you put them over the instrument, it just moves one to the bottom and the other one above. So then you additionally have to delete them. I could also be wrong, but I mean, the entire workflow is completely better and more intuitive, let's say it like this. I definitely have to put more attention to Unify. I was reading another question here. You know, Streaky, if you ask me, don't change to Mac. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're using Logic, just, you know, but the thing is, why would you change to iMac to make music when you are... I mean, I totally can understand because everything looks so cool and looks so smooth. But my problem with people comparing computers all the time is that they don't compare high-class PCs to Macs. A Mac is an absolute high-class computer. It's optimized. The software is optimized. The hardware is optimized. Ideally, I mean, when I see all these recent Logic questions, hey, can I install Logic 10.7./XYZ357 with Mojave Super Snow Leopard, whatever out there is right now. And but the thing is, people always compare like crappy 500 euro media market or like electronic market PCs to a 5,000 euro or a 2,000 euro iMac. And this is where it goes wrong, because if a Mac would be like 300 or 500 bucks, it would be shitty as PCs in the same range. Okay, Matthew, just most people maybe know this, but for the ones who don't, Contact Instruments can send the generated MIDI data outside. So if you got a nice arpeggio in Contact, but you want that to be used on another VST, this is possible. Yes. What I also like about Studio One in general is that you can come up with an entire thing I don't even play it around with, but you can have a complex setup of different routing options within one channel, how you set up instruments, how to set up plugins and all these things. Seven Tears of Hope. Hey, welcome back. Okay, Tony, thanks, Alex, but strict company policy says no unauthorized software. I don't, so you mean you work in a company and they say they don't allow you to put additional software on your machine, or are you self-employed? And I'm not really sure what you're trying to say, so maybe you can help me out here a little bit. Or another Zen. Yeah, you have a VST list on the right side in Cubase as well that works with the drag and drop, including drag and drop effects on top of the instrument track. This biggest issue, though, is the plugin. The plugins have huge images. The other thing is that I don't even care about if there are images on there or how big they are. My biggest issue is that you have to open up all the time to go, for example, to your favorites folder. This is what really drives me crazy. I would be totally fine if they have like big pictures or something. Well, of course, not like, but the cool thing about Studio One is that I have my favorites. Let me just quickly change again. So I see my favorite folder in here. I can see Contact, I see the Sign Player, and I can also see all the patches I have in here. So if I want to, for example, quickly load Nucleus Strings Ensemble Spiccato, which I obviously set up for the MIDI, it's just there. I don't need to, and this thing is always open. I have to hit F5 to open it quickly, and F6 is for sorry. What is it? Oh, like this. Okay, so F5, F6 is instruments, F7 is effects. So these things, they are always open like this. So the sidebar in Cubase works like this, that you always see the home screen. And then you have to go from the home screen to user presets. And then you have to go from user presets to favorites. And then favorites, VST inserts, or channel or track presets or something. The only solution you can do is to minimize the media bay and put it right, let's say here, to minimize the media bay and have it like a small window sitting over this sidebar. So it's completely ridiculous. It's really crazy to work like this. And so I don't understand why Steinberg simply says, have this folder always open so I can just simply grab my effects. And to be honest, I never opened the media bay, because when I do, I go crazy. There are so many presets in here, like millions of presets I would never use. I would never go in there and say super rock snare compression. This is because on what, it's like putting salt on your meal. As I said before, putting salt on your meal preset. What meal? Is it like 12 people eating Chinese food? Is it like 3 people eating burgers? Then you don't need salt, but another spice, maybe barbecue sauce. So, and yes, Gernov, Studio One is the future of music. To be honest, I really love Cubase when it comes to complex orchestral stuff when all these features are in there. And these are the only features why I still work in Cubase, is because of the video track, the video engine, then because of hide unused tracks and show only tracks with data. This is so cool if you have a template of 300 tracks and you just work on 3 or 4 tracks and you just want to get the arrangement done and you want to see them big on screen, you can just hide everything that doesn't contain data. And the other thing is the negative delay handling. So if Presonus comes up, the Studio One team, and gets the negative delay done, which already kind of you can solve with that minus delay, and there's another plugin by DCM or DMC, I forgot right now. You can handle the negative delay if they will sort out to show data only, and if the video engine improves, I will be totally off to Studio One, definitely. Oh, this is interesting. Wardy, hey Alex, can you play some of your very early stuff when you first started out? Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. So yes, of course. I uploaded it recently on SoundCloud to really blame myself, because this is basically the track it all started with. Let me just find this real quick. Where are you? So the track was called... I forgot my track names all the time. So let me just quickly play this for you. And I'm not ashamed to play this. It was called Alien Assault. It was my official demo for East West Quantum Leap Symphonic Gold Orchestra. So I'm just playing this right now. Listen to this very complex string arrangement. This is just too awesome. But I still like this part. Well, I still kind of like the sound of the instruments because it was a well-recorded library. Of course, I would make a lot of stuff different today. You could hear that I enjoyed quite a bit of Matrix. And yes, but this is what for, yes, I was reading that question. What guitar did I use on that track? I think it was a native, what is Guitar Rig 3 or something back then, 2 or 3. Or actually it was some of my, no, I didn't even have VST instruments back then, like guitar amp simulations. I think it was some kind of a Korg or hardware device, but I'm not really sure anymore. It's been like, I think like 18 years ago when I wrote that track. So this was probably the very first kind of orchestral track I did. Smats. Yeah, you should remake that track with all your new sample packs and knowledge. That would be definitely funny, especially the guitar parts. That would be seriously funny. We're just reading one question on top. Alex, do you think there is any way to use the Studio One's chord track to help with the workflow? Seriously, I've never used chord tracks in Cubase and in Studio One. I don't even know how this works. I know that you can come up with a chord or with some MIDI files and you type in a chord and then it arranges these files to the appropriate. But I don't know. I sometimes, of course, I use a lot of chords to sketch out my track and sometimes have problems, especially playing them on the keyboard. But what is important for me is that I don't want to see my music as blocks. Of course, this is great by saying, hey, that guy just promoted string loops. But even when it comes to like a full track, I don't like to think in these blocks. I just want to have some fluid arrangement going in there. And that's why I think would be the best way to, start understanding or not really thinking in chords, but just think like, what is this harmony doing when you put these things on top? I hope that makes sense. I really would love to pronounce your name, but you just wrote like you hear in the process that I don't want to say the Russian guy, but it's like, but the process of making my first orchestra track and losing all the confidence. Don't do this. Don't think negative. Just maybe convert this thinking of saying you feel thrilled and now you want to know. Now you want to really go for it. Just turn it into something positive, because it's not a good thing to feel demotivated by music. It's the same like when you see Alan. I'm a guitar player. The first time I was seeing Alan Holdsworth, I knew that I would probably need 100 years to go where this guy was at the point when I saw him live, which was 2012. I mean, he unfortunately died like a few years ago, but I felt motivated by listening, or I still feel motivated by his music. He's like God to me, all this complex chord and voicings. It's like out of this world. And so I would never feel demotivated, when listening to music, especially not mine. And Streaky the Super Cat, no, have you gotten the BBC Symphony Orchestra? No, I feel tempted to get it. But to be honest, I don't have like 380 euros flying around to just say, oh yeah, let's get another orchestra library. I definitely know that at some point I will, and I will probably write some kind of track or doing like a live stream for this. But I don't want to, I'm not really sure if I would need it, because, I have Junk XL brass for brass, Cinematic Studio brass. I'm working with Nucleus Araya, definitely a part of my list. Berlin Strings, Berlin Woods, and all these, all these percussion libraries out there. I'm not really sure if I should change my entire workflow by getting another orchestra library in there. So I would just get it. Teacher Adam, yeah. I'm sorry, I should probably put like a beep signal in here. So every time I'm saying Junk XL brass, I'm just hitting that key. Yeah, I would if I would ever have like $350, maybe on the next paycheck by BMI paycheck, which happens in September, get that money and it will be kind of a good amount, then I will probably get that library. So, but for now, I don't want to spend 350 to just get something which may eating dust on my hard drive. Not because I don't like it, but I don't find it essential to get now. It's not the center of my working universe right now. It could become, but it's like the raining possibility right now. The chance of rain is like 60% right now, or even 70. Oh, Kyles, that's an interesting question. Welcome. Looking back now, what would you advise? What advice would you give to yourself 18 years ago, starting out with orchestral samples and writing? This is very hard, to be honest, because I really like where I am right now. And this only happened because I did everything like I did it. It sounds completely super simple, but once you realize that you accept everything on your life to get to a point where you're just ultimately happy with what you're doing. I don't want to sit there right now and saying, I could be 45 and be like a millionaire by now. I could be living in Los Angeles. I could, whatever in my life happens, I would just accept what is coming on and not. I would just. I probably, if there would be one advice, yes. If there would be one advice, I would say stop thinking about everything. Stop thinking. Thinking is such a virus. It's like the thing that prevents us from doing our best things. It's just thinking, because the moment we sit there and saying, as in my example, I'm going to release a MIDI pack for strings, or I'm building libraries with a GUI, which is literally non-existent. There's just like a big picture, and if you move the mod wheel, it looks fancy. If I would think about, no, people would actually think, what is that stupid shit that guy's putting out, that guy's releasing? Who needs MIDI packs for strings? But then, you open your phone and then you see like people buying your library. So actually, when I'm seeing this like this, it sounds a little bit funny, but I can see right now that 7 orders happened during the live stream since I put my phone on top. So I could say, yes, if I would have thought too much, if I would have overthinking the process, then and money is not everything, but then I wouldn't have made these $60 I made right now with the phone, or during this live stream. So this is what I'm trying to say is probably most probably most opportunities are dying because we think somebody could laugh about us. Somebody could find it funny or weird or strange what we're doing. And we have to realize that people will do that anyway. When I had this little hacker attack like a few months ago, that somebody attacked my YouTube channel, I don't want to get into that story anymore, but somebody downvoted all of my like 5 or 6 of my videos of my most recent, my most recent videos with like 50 or 40, I have to look, 40 or 50 dislikes. And it totally changed my entire perception of the channel, because I released a new library, 40 dislikes, 30 likes, 40 dislikes. And but I just kept on doing it, and especially during this 28-day challenge, I'm releasing like 28 new videos. So everything what happened back then is long gone. I don't think about this anymore, and I didn't spend too much time thinking about this because it doesn't make sense. At some point, negative stuff will happen always, but you never know, and this is the most important. if I would have done things different, maybe 5 years, I would have had an accident on, by being overrun by a car, or a flight crashed or something, and I would be gone. So I don't want to think about this process. What would I have done different? The only thing is definitely thinking less. Yeah, sorry, I was drifting off, but this is always an interesting question because all these thinking processes ruin so much. We have so awesome ideas, including you guys. We have like 69 people watching right now. I think each one of you knows this situation that you think, no, I'm not going to do this. Like the same with dating. There's this beautiful girl standing at the bar, and you say, no, I'm not going to talk to her. And you can compare the dating world to the marketing world to our composing world. It's all the same. And then you're thinking, yeah, okay, so you're not talking to her, but maybe this would be your future wife, And but also it doesn't make sense to think about everything what you would have changed, because it happens as it will. Oh, you're teaching kids, Kyles. Yeah, that's super cool. I think kids definitely need. But the thing is, what's really cool about kids, when you have, I'm not really sure how old the kids are that you are teaching, but it's so awesome that kids don't think. Technically, I mean, they start thinking at a specific age because we put all these information in these kids. Dress like this because somebody could think bad. Don't you're a little boy, don't wear that pink dress because someone could think you're like, you want to be a girl, and then people would think I have something, I have a transgender kid or whatever, this is disgusting. So like people, we're putting all these we're putting all that, don't play with that black boy, all these things we're putting into kids. And this is the point where they start thinking, and where they become, to being rough, where they become racists, or where they have all these, prejudging thoughts. And the same on a minimalistic basis happens to kids later on. But when the kids are very young, they don't think, they just do things. They don't think about the consequences. Sometimes not enough that they go on the street and start playing on the street and say, yeah, but there's no car coming, we can play here. So they have to know this is dangerous, but this is really dangerous because they could die. I mean, really die from this. But yeah, so this is cool. But yeah, if the kids are getting into that direction by starting that thinking process, I would really love to have like school teaching meditation, and teaching others to respect other lives, that bullying isn't okay, and all these things, and especially how to do your taxes. This is stuff you don't learn in school, Yes, right. Scandov, you say it. Look at those little bastards. They fly out of bed happy as ever. And yeah, they just don't think about it. Every day is awesome for them. Every day is so awesome for them that they are sitting in their bed and crying because they don't want to get to sleep. They want to just suck it all up, what is going on around them. And now, like 30 years later, somebody's sitting at home and just thinking like the world is a bad place because they have been influenced by so many negative thoughts that it's getting to a point of being unbearable, Oh, Remco, let me get into this. I was underlying if you tried other articulation automation possibilities like the wave ring of Genki instruments. I don't even know this. Wow. Or using two expression pedals because sometimes you need two hands on the keys. The thing is, I can answer this pretty directly. I don't play too much stuff. I mean, I try to come up with stuff and put it into, let's say, Studio One, like my DAW. But then I keep on manipulating. If I have like, let me just quickly. It's just like that little stupid example. But if you have a simple if you have a simple, let me load the free orchestra again. Let me just hit the, what is like a, no, it doesn't. I should probably, let me like a nucleus sustain patch. So I mean, it's just like a, you would ask, why did you pull up something? But if you just play, I don't know, whatever. I should probably move over here a bit. Let's get rid of this. So when you have like, it's just a simple example, but when I play like chords, whatever. What is, oh, some more stuff up here. But when you play, most people, they play chords. And then they try to automate and, you know, taking care of all the automation and the expression stuff and the modulation and everything right away. But what I do is just, I sit here and say, okay, I just have to manually overlap these notes and check the timing of this, because, and then when the chord is fading out, that I have to take care that most of the time the basses need a little bit longer for the fade out than the high strings, or maybe it's just, we just have to see what sounds good. So I'm sitting here sometimes for minutes. I'm doing this right now when I talk, but and as for the mod wheel, this is just, where's my mod wheel? Oh, why is my mod wheel gone? Did I delete that? Mode control, G screen. Oh, modulate. Oh, sorry. Sorry. It's the bright light up here. Just blame it on the lights. So, but this is what I'm trying to say. I just give it several runs because I want to have the outcome as realistic or as close as possible to an orchestra and have it sound good instead of being able to play as much stuff live. I try to put as much efficiency as possible in building a template and having all my, you know, libraries at hands, and then take this time to really care about the composition. So I never would go that route of saying I use additional pedals and something for my elbow and maybe have some device strapped around my brain and doing some, you know, I'm exaggerating, of course. I'm making a little bit of fun, but sitting here like a complete, you know, like having seizures or something, and then to only make it right as perfect as possible in real time. So I'm just sitting here and taking care of all these little things afterwards, and that I got all my little knobs up here, you know, on the complete one, on the complete A on my keyboard here on the A61, and I can just fiddle in whatever I want and not overthink, as I said again, overthink this process of using several pedals and stuff like this. Yeah, Kyle's, yeah, high-age school kids between 11 and 18 years. This is probably, yeah, the most important age to prepare them for the future, and that they are not thinking too much about all these things. Oh, Fidget, how do you get the visualization under your webcam? You mean the little equalizer under here? That's actually an OBS plugin. It's called Audio Visualizer. It's an OBS plugin. It's called Audio Visualizer, and then you can assign a source, you know, like an audio source to it. So in this case, I have my, you know, incoming Cubase or Studio One stuff. And if you just play something, you see the visualization moving the equalizer, the frequency bands. There are actually so many cool plugins out there for OBS. I was somewhere in the stream before, I was reading that somebody mentioned Touch Portal to have all these scene changes and basically doing things what like a Stream Deck could do, like an Elgato Stream Deck. It goes even further. You can, and I at some point I think I have to try this. When you are watching from Twitch, you get channel points from watching, and there is an option in Touch Portal where you can have people spending these channel points to trigger commands. So every time, for example, somebody spends me like 100, whatever, pays like 100 pepper bucks, that's my currency, and you could, turn off my light in my studio and I could turn it back on. I mean, that's a stupid example, but you could even have like little gimmicks happening on screen, little alarms or some kind of a UFO flying over this. So there's some really cool stuff happening. Hey, Radio Silence Records. All is well. Thank you. Yes, Ganov, I have to agree. You do the automation afterwards. I try to use the mod wheel as well when it works, especially since I'm not the best keyboard player. Sometimes when I do, for example, like a fanfare, like a brass fanfare, I tend to play everything. I mean, if that would have a better attack, of course, so sustained samples are not the best to show this. And then I sit down and just harmonize the entire part. So I just make sure to record the rhythm. I totally don't care about this. I suck at playing keyboard. I'm trying to improve. I'm practicing a little bit here and there. But the only thing I care about is how it sounds at the end, Yeah, I'm just translating it because I want to keep the chat in English, Radio Silence, where you can listen to my demo of Arcus. To be honest, back then I did it, I mean, it's like a collaboration between Orchestral Tools and Native Instruments. So they released Arcus in the name of Native Instruments. I'm not really sure right now because I didn't check the Orchestral Tools website, so I don't know if it's also available there or they have a link leading to Native Instruments. But they released it under Native Instruments. So they asked me, Orchestral Tools asked me to write a demo. I did the demo, and then I delivered my demo, and they didn't use it. And the thing is, the main reason I think they didn't use it is because they didn't put it up on the official website is because I've used additional instruments like drums and my, 8-string Strandberg. So if you just listen to all the demos, you get a good impression. And then there's just one sucker in between where he's just like freaking out, and getting into metal for like 30 seconds of the track. So this is probably the reason they didn't use it. So I'm not, I have no hard, how do you say, like hard feelings about this. Wardy, thanks for grabbing Undate. I hope you like it. I know there will be some new, guitar stuff happening soon because I am so impressed with the Strandberg. I definitely have to do something in the style of Titan, or make it like let's say like an easy to use and traditional guitar by having sustained samples and staccato samples and these palm mutes. I think this is basically all you need to kind of create like let's say a well-suited guitar, or like a good sounding guitar that is not too hard to use with lots of key switches and stuff like this. So just where you can hit, because you don't have the much dynamics going on anyway. If you play a sustain note, you can't just hit it like this. If it's like full blast 8-string and you just hit it a little bit, it goes like so it's like a trombone and triple F all the time. I will definitely do this. Geo Hoon, Alex, I've been following you since the East West Storm Drum 2 demo in 2008. You have been a fan since ever. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much. That was, Herophobia, I think, was that Storm Drum 2 demo back then, which was actually my first YouTube walkthrough video. I created this back then. I didn't even know how to record like the screen. I just was able to work it out with some kind of early version. I think I was Mac at that time. No, I wasn't. I don't know, but there was like some Windows Video Maker, Movie Maker or something. And it was too crazy because I delivered that video to East West and they hosted it on the website or on the forum. And back then there was no YouTube. So this is why I decided in 2008 to start, uploading videos. So this technically was my first walkthrough video I've ever posted. I mean, imagine this, like, it actually was like, was it 2008? The Storm Drum 2 demo? Right, it was 2008. I think that to that time, YouTube was released, or YouTube was developed, or was coming out, however you want to call it. I think 2003 or 2004 was all the older stuff I played right now, the Alien Assault. Vicente, hey, from Brazil. Man, this is crazy where you guys are from. This is so cool. Entire world. Yeah, maybe they are not ready for some 8-string action yet. Well, I think I don't care. Probably I didn't even post it somewhere. Yes, I posted it on my YouTube channel, actually. And that's why I called it, just featuring Arcus. Did I say like featuring Arcus? I think I referred to it in the video description. So, but I'm pretty happy that I had the opportunity. I'm not so horny about that it is being presented officially, because I see it as an opportunity to have some content again for my channel. And yeah. Yeah, Remco, let me know about this Genki instrument. I will definitely hit that up, Genki instruments, and getting into the modulation thing with both hands on the keyboard. I mean, sooner or later we will have like a little jack somewhere here, and you can just put like it will be like a MIDI, well, not MIDI plug or something, but like a little jack, and then we can control all the dynamics with our brain. This will be very exciting. Scamper. It was the Albion demo, Feel the Steam. Yeah, that was... Yeah, I really loved working with the Albion 1 at this point. It was really great to have, like... I think it was probably the first time I really focused, or I had to focus to just create an entire track with just one library. Because even on my old East-West Quantum Leap, the Gold Edition demo, I used additional sounds like my guitar and everything. So Feel the Steam, I think, was probably one of the first where I entirely had to work with Albion 1. Did I bought Easy Bass already? No, I got the Jin bass, I think, and I also got an Ibanez bass. Did I say Ibanez right now? Shit, an Ibanez bass. Over here, that sounds pretty juicy. So I'm using Jin bass, but also the Ibanez. The Ibanez. Delvina, thanks for being on my channel. You're new to the channel, so welcome. You enjoyed it. Yeah, I did a great job. That's really great to hear. This is so good to hear, when you're sitting here and basically just wanted to do a little test, and then you figure out that you have been live for like 2 hours. To be honest, no. If I had the chance to try Spitfire's new symphonic motions, no, actually not. I'm not really sure what it is. Seriously, I don't know what it is, but at some point I got so overwhelmed with all kinds of releases by Spitfire that I completely stopped. You know, I mean, I love the company, but it's, I don't know. It feels like back then when you decide to buy a new string library and then you have studio strings, suddenly you have symphonic strings, suddenly there's a discount, suddenly there's a bigger library, way more cheap, then suddenly you have BBCSO, then suddenly before that you have Hans Zimmer strings, and then it's so much stuff. I think it was too much. It was like a room where constantly like 3 dishwashers are running. You just close the door to not hear it. But at the same time, I'm not really sure why this is, but I definitely have to check out the symphonic motions. I think I checked out a video, but then again, I was thinking, well, like the what is it? The measure tremolo was kind of similar. I could be totally wrong, as in Araya. So I just got Araya, and then I said, why should I get something like this? And then you heard all these atmospheric things, and then I thought, okay, I got Arcus, I got Time Micro, and you know, and also the creative sound packs. So I don't even get close by using all the stuff I have. So why should I get new one? You know, maybe it was just a little bit of a bad timing that this stuff has been released in between all these things I got. Cinebrass versus Cinematic Studio Brass. What do you think? I honestly love the Cinebrass Monster Brass patches. And basically, I love both libraries. I mean, it totally depends. It totally depends what you're looking for. I mean, Cinematic Studio Brass is more like a studio recording. At least this is how it sounds like. And Cinebrass is like at the Sony stage, so it sounds great right off the box. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to libraries, I don't like to compare these libraries. I would always think, what gets the job done? What is more suitable for the job? Maybe I don't think, maybe if I'm unsure about it, maybe I layer them both to get a little bit more realism into them. What's wrong with saying Ibanez? Yeah. maybe it's also a German thing, because usually when you have some Germans and they want to be really cool, and when you say, I'm not really sure if you say Ibanez in English, but when you say it in German, it's Ibanez, and then the people who try to sound fancy say, I got an Ibanez, and the same goes with Gibson or Gibson. It's like it's pronounced Gibson. And then if there is this super cool German guy who said, I recently got myself a Gibson. A Gibson, you know? What else do we have here? I don't know. Or the best is when it's like a Takamine. I think it's called. It's like, is it like a Japanese brand or something? I'm not really sure. Or is it? I'm not really sure. Italian. Pretty embarrassing as a guitar player. But then you have this cool German guitar player, and he says, I got myself a Takamine. And this is so, this is so, you know, it's just too funny. Yeah, DJ Adam, you probably talk about Spitfire, that they have to sell, you know, top pay 80 employees. I mean, yeah, it's like a big company. You just have to make sure to release stuff constantly. To me personally, it was like I got Albion 1, and then I thought, okay, Albion 2, was it like the string stuff? The first, like the like solo strings or something, like smaller string ensembles, or the I'm not really sure. Then I got Albion 3 again, which was the low rumbling stuff, which adds absolutely great with the monster brass patches, since we're at it by the Cine Samples brass. I did use all these times together. All the time I used these patches together. That's what I wanted to say. And and then I stopped it. And then there was like, Albion 4, Albion 5, and then there was like, I don't know, Albion 6 or some, and then something sounded like the previous Albion and this one disappeared, and it was just too funny. And then you had all this other stuff happening, like the symphonic strings, then the studio strings, and then suddenly you had like bigger packages and cheaper, and then you suddenly had the Hans Zimmer strings, and then you had another one, and then you had the the BBC orchestra, and I was like, yeah, this sounds really great, but now at this point, do I currently need more orchestra libraries? So maybe I'm getting it within like 2 or 3 weeks and try it out and say like, shit, why did I get it earlier? This sounds so awesome. But you never know. Hey Ben, how are you? Man, let me just check. This is so awesome. So we get like 36 people from YouTube and 26 from Twitch right now. So it seems like it works. The test was all right. I think I would call it a day for tonight, because my the mainstream the mainstream is tomorrow. Just in case if you just jumped in. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time, and we will continue composing music. We started like this cool kind of Elder Scrolls track, fantasy adventure track, video game track, main theme maybe in this style, and we are going to continue composing on this track. And as I said before, maybe I should make it. I mentioned this so many times that I get maybe like the Monday into streaming also. Maybe starting a little bit later, like 9 or 10. I will have to check this out. Maybe I will just jump in during the day somewhere and do this. Okay, let me just answer one question. Yes, sir. Can you give any advice on plugin effects? What's your recommendation for reverb? Reverb is also like, I recently got the Cinematic Studio. Is it called Cinematic Studio Reverb? And I think it sounds very great, very cool. But to be honest, it's kind of a little bit of a homeopathic discussion. What is really like better? I think if your reverb is the best when you know what you do, and I could just dial in the RC48. Let me just switch the screen because I'm talking all the time anyway. Cinematic rooms, right? Thank you. I mean, I like how Cinematic Rooms sounds like crystal clear, and it's very, 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 how do you say, like crystalline, very sharp. And I also still like Seventh Heaven Reverb, but I also like another plugin. I'm not really sure what it's called right now. Man, this is the point where you're either getting old or you just have too much stuff. I think I don't have it. I don't have it inside Studio One here. What was the name of that? Was it something with R? I'm not really sure. No, I don't have it in here. No, it wasn't a Precaster emulation. It was there was like an advertising, and they had like this long kind of a calm electronic track. It was something with R, I think. I'm just trying. It was some kind of a very hissy reverb. long tails, mostly made for long tails. No, not Black Hole, not Valhalla. Not Verberate. No, it wasn't Verberate. I'm not really sure what is it called. Just have to find. No, I think I won't find it by looking through my plugin folder right now. No, it wasn't also Shimmer. It wasn't Valhalla. It wasn't by the FabFilter guys. It was a plugin called. It's kind of funny. I think I probably don't find it. I would have to open Cubase because I'm not really sure why I can't find it right now. It doesn't matter. It sounds, but I think you waste more hours by comparing reverbs than just trying to use what you have. Or if you have some budget, just get one where you think this sounds best to you and then use it, because you would always feel, oh, was it Relap? I think. Let me just quickly come up with some. I think that was. I think, yes, it was Relap. Let me just quickly. Yo, the Sonsig Rev A. I got this one. That sounds very smooth. Thank you. Digivolt. Yeah, right. That was the one I was talking about. Oops. No, switching screens right now. This was the one. That sounds very smooth if you want to go for like vocal, very, very bright sounding plates. Not really like shimmer, but something kind of dreamy-ish sound. That sounds really cool. Yeah, thank you. That was the one. Yeah, so it's I know. I would love to give you way more technical information about all these things, but I'm not a nerd when it comes to this and tell you like, hey, this thing uses like, whatever XYZ algorithms, and it's called True Room Technique Interval Measurement Thingy something. I just usually decide, is something sounding good or not? Can I use it? Do I feel attracted to it? Because when I feel attracted to a plugin, I enjoy using it, and this is what pushes my mood when trying to create music, when writing music. If it's just like all these little, it's like little pieces of chocolate, and you got all these pieces of chocolate lying around in your DAW, and you just start throwing them all in and see like how this big pile of sweets comes up, just to come up with a stupid comparison. Hey Siebenklang, how are you? You're ready for today. You probably finished for today, like you did enough work. Yeah, I was just about to leave, because we're already online for like 2 hours and 15, and it was supposed to just be a little bit of a library promo, or the MIDI, the MIDI pack promo, and a little bit of a test. Yeah. This wasn't very convincing. Yeah. But technically I would just decide, if you like something. It's the same in general. I actually planned to do an entire YouTube video about this, because I don't understand why people constantly decide libraries. I mean, if it's like technical questions, if there's a library, like when somebody says, look, if you get this library, you just have one sample for a staccato note. There is no round robin, as it happens with a very basic library by Spitfire. They are now selling for 49 euros. This is totally cool for that price, but you just have to realize you get one staccato sample or spiccato sample per note. So it sounds, you get like some sort of a machine sound, like this machine gun sound. So if somebody sets out a comparison like this, compared to another library with like, orchestral tools got Berlin strings with like 48 round robins. You can just play fast passages. You don't hear any other note similar to the previous one. But if somebody is looking for like, comparisons in sounds or anything, I don't care what pros say about a sound or whatnot if I don't feel comfortable using that library or that plugin. So I would just always, just look at my pants and see, do I get a boner or not? I mean, to be really, direct here. You just look for something, and then you say, wow, this is awesome. Like Cinematic Studio Strings was a library like this. I heard it, and I said, okay, I just have to get this one, because I may have orchestral tools. I may have Berlin strings. I may have, Arc 1. You name them, all kinds of strings libraries. But this one I needed. I felt like totally inspired by using this. And sometimes you have these libraries, and sometimes I had the situation that there was a pro saying, hey, you have to get these orchestral libraries. It was very early back then. There were like, I think 2 releases of an orchestral library, and I didn't feel comfortable using them. I knew that person was a full-time professional, and he's probably right about saying that this is currently the best, whatever, like orchestral library you can get. But I felt limited to it. And to be honest, I wanted to go back to my East-West Quantum Leap Symphonic Orchestra, because when I hit like the trombones, it's like, it was like big. It was way before the Bram. But I just hit these notes, and you heard this entire room, this entire hall, and you listened to all these patches, and your track sounded like really like Hollywood. And then I had this other library, and I just kind of said to myself, yeah, but this is what Pro says is cool. So it doesn't matter if it was me not being very, skilled with this kind of workflow. That was obviously the case, but I felt uncomfortable using it. So I would always go with Araya, exactly. When I heard that for the first time, and I mean, obviously, I had the pleasure, to do a presentation video for it and everything. But even if Audio Imperia didn't approach me, I would just get it because it sounds so amazing. And it got exactly what many people complain about. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I think I would reconsider it when you have an epic, like an epic orchestral track, and you just want to have some audible legato transitions. These bumps you need, because this is what typically these transitions typically disappear when you write a busy track. And that's why I'm so happy. Wow, finally a library that got it right. I'm not saying this, Sylvie. What was the name of the orchestra? Well, basically, I can say it. So the comparison, yeah, it's so long ago. Basically, I can say it. I mean, I still love the company, but I am completely in a different, range of writing music. But back then, the discussion was that I owned East-West Quantum Leap. This is the gold edition, and I was working for that. And then I was talking to a pro. I shall be nameless, but I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, get the Opus bundle by VSL." And I really loved the details of all that stuff. All the legato stuff, all the round robins and everything, and it was kind of cool. But I didn't get this Hollywood sound out of this. And of course, I'm saying I was unskilled. I was like a total newbie, but I got this library where you needed a lot of expertise to make it really pro sounding. And a big factor was also the arrangement. I wasn't able to that time to write a very complex orchestral arrangement. If I would have done this right, I would have gotten better results, but I wasn't. And I felt more comfortable writing with EWQLSO, so this was my to-go library. So, I mean, it's a long time ago. I personally think VSL is a great library, but to me, I'm just, I just want to load something and mod wheel, okay, here, softer, louder, okay, this is how it works. I don't want any kind of like controllers for, hearing like the wind behind your ears when you raise the bow, and then that this also interacts the wind noise next to the string player sitting next to you. I'm totally, having these fucked up thoughts again and exaggerating here, but you know what I'm trying to say. This is like too many things. It's getting too technical, and then you're sitting there and all you want to do is create music. So yeah, right. And this is, Sylvie, what may work for someone doesn't work for someone else. And this was perfectly the point back then, that I should have gone and saying, no, I mean, I was happy I took the exploration to another sound set, another library, but I should have gotten at this point and saying, okay, I want to work with East-West. And I think this was the point when I started layering stuff, that I started layering the East-West stuff with the Opus stuff. So maybe it was all worth it. Who knows? Okay. Yeah. So I think I would call it a day for tonight. Yeah, I'm leaving some juice for tomorrow. So I will be back here at 8 p.m. and we will continue working on our fantasy track. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that this is working now. So I will be most likely streaming to both platforms tomorrow too, because it seems like all my problems are gone. I still have 0% dropped frames. So if you have any problems with the stream, it's it's you, not me. So okay, so have a great night, have a good night, and hope to see you all tomorrow. And thanks for being here. It was really awesome to talk to you. Thanks so much for all your questions. This is really the best thing of being live, that you can do this interaction rather than just sitting there and writing, just only writing music, and it was really a lot of fun to interact with all of you. Okay, so see you tomorrow then. Have a great night. Thanks for being here and take care. Bye.